So, who are the most logical trade fits and trade partners for the Yankees? Let's talk about it. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So, by the way, my apologies for the sunglasses. Everywhere I sit, there's sun glare everywhere. When I sit this side, you can't see half my face. Sit the other side, you can't see the other half of my face. So, this is where you can see all of me, but I have my sunglasses. So, my apologies there. I hope you don't mind. With that said, I also want to thank Mikey Mazza for having me a part of his panel last night with NFE from the Strike Zone, Mikey Mazza from the Fortran Express. We had JOBA Chamberlain on again, and it was my second opportunity to speak with him. And the knowledge that he brings and the perspective that he brings is so valuable and so meaningful to us as fans and content creators that it was incredible. And we talked about everything baseball, everything Yankees, and from a former player's perspective, and it was enlightening. It really, really, really was. Okay, I'm going to attach that down below if you want to take a look at it. And it was definitely an awesome experience. So thank you again, JOBA. Thank you again, Mikey, and thank you again, NFE, for your contributions as well. So, but we talked about free agency and what the Yankees could do, and so on and so forth. And, and the biggest names that I talked about are Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, and even to a lesser degree, Shota Imanaga. Those are the three essentially targets for the Yankees that we know that they've discussed. To what level, we don't know. And the fact is, I do think the Red Sox are going to get either Montgomery or Snell, and the Yankees might get the other. But we don't know. We just don't know yet. So pivoted to the trade market. And again, the Yankees gave a lot of pitching to the Padres for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. And we talked about how impactful Trent Grisham's going to be here, and Alex Verdugo is going to be here as well. And I can't you can't understate it enough either. So, with the outfield, they had a negative 26 defensive run saved before those trades. Alex Verdugo came to +9 by himself. So not only are they going to be improving their run manufacturing because they brought 3 lefty contact bats, but they're also going to be improving their run prevention machine too. So it's all in all better. But now the Yankees are pivoting to the starting pitching, and I understand a lot of fans are frustrated that they haven't done much. Well, this is unorthodox for the Yankees. What I mean by that, well, they never really act this early in the offseason. And they made these trades like the first week of the offseason, close to it. And, with the exception of some margin moves and improvements that they made quietly, it looks like they haven't really done anything. So a lot of fans are frustrated and they feel like they're going to do the same one out, guy out. And it's not the case. And the Yankees have already acknowledged that they're going to be adding pitching. And the fact is the market is drastically priced right now for pitching. Very high prices for trades, very high prices for free agency. So with that said, we kind of identified 2 logical teams for the Yankees. And by the way, this stuff is going to get more intense. We're going to hear more about it. So make sure that you're subbed to the channel. That way you don't miss anything when it comes to discussions, when it comes to news, trades, free agency, all things baseball, especially all things Yankees. Hit the notification button too. That way when the news comes in, you're at the front of the line when it comes in. So I thank you so much for that. Now, with that said, the 2 most logical fits that we've identified are the Marlins and the Seattle Mariners for a couple reasons. One, they both have an excess of arms. They also both need bats. They're not looking for arms in return. So that represents a good trade need for the Yankees and a good trade fit for the Yankees because we have an excess of bats. Okay, especially if we're going 4 or 5 deep in a certain position, we can trade from that position because some of those guys are blocked already to begin with. And there's really no room for them here. And we have to address the pitching side now. And we have the arms to enable us to do that. And vice versa with the teams like the Marlins and Mariners. They've got the arms to spare. They need the bats. We've got the bats. So they represent good fits. Okay. And the fact that the Yankees have to replenish some of that pitching prospect capital and pitching depth that they gave up for even Alex Verdugo and in the Padres trade too for Soto and Grisham. So they represent good fits. And when I mentioned the Mariners, you talk about Logan Gilbert or talk about Bryce Miller, who I brought up. and to a lesser degree, Luis Castillo. Okay. Not to a lesser degree because he's a less of a pitcher. He's still an elite pitcher, but he comes with a huge contract now, $23 million a year for the next 5 years, which to me means or tells me, and I could be wrong, that the prospect return might be less significant for him because of the contract that comes along with it, as opposed to the other guys where they'd be younger and more controllable years. You'd be able to, to give them more prospects there, and especially ones that they might need, and they need bats, say particularly infield bats. Okay, maybe even an outfield bat too, because they traded Jared Kelenic to the Braves. So, and then the Marlins, Jesus Luzardo and probably Edward Cabrera, I think, are the two most. Braxton Garrett, apparently, we're hearing he might not be available. Or maybe they're just expecting a ransom. And maybe these guys are valued differently too, because I'm seeing proposals where people are asking for Spencer Jones and Austin Wells and more for Jesus Luzardo, but only Oswald Peraza for Edward Cabrera. And I don't understand how they're valued so differently. I can't see them getting a Cabrera anyway. He's a big, tall, right-handed pitcher with high strikeout rates, but he's got a little bit of command issue. So, and he represents a good fit for a pitching coach like Matt Blake. But I still think it would cost probably a Peraza, probably a Pereira, and maybe even a third bat, maybe a catcher. Those are essentially some of the three of the needs that the Marlins have, and we can identify all of them. We can address all of them. So I still think those represent the two most logical fits. And the fact is, the controllable years allows the Yankees to make a couple of moves and not have to forfeit, either the farm or put them in a bind or make it harder to extend Juan Soto, because it's going to be very expensive to do that. And making a trade like this, if they can do it, puts them in a good position to address that need as well, the bigger need. Okay. And trading for Shane Bieber is an option too. We've talked about other trades. So we talked about the Brewers for Corbin Burns, right? We talked about the White Sox for Dylan Cease, but the asking prices for them are so high right now. And the ask already, and the expectation is that we give up one of our arms. Chase Hampton, Will Warren, Clayton Beer, and so on and so forth. And I know some folks are saying there's so many free agents out there and Yankee fans are worrying about prospects. Well, yeah, we're worrying about prospects. Yeah, because we need them to hit. We need the Yankees to hit on a couple of these guys to infuse them with some of the more expensive free agents. We can't just go the expensive route all the time. The expensive names or the biggest names aren't always the best fits. And, and JOBA Chamberlain said as much last night, and I couldn't agree more. And again, this is where these two teams represent the most logical fits for trades. And again, they could still get a trade. Let's just say they trade for an Edward Cabrera, and they could still bring in Jordan Montgomery. They could still bring a Shota Imanaga or something like that. And they've got two arms, because they do need to replace about anywhere between 300 to 340 innings. We didn't get those innings last year from Nestor Cortez or Carlos Rodon. And now we don't have Domingo Germán. We don't have Luis Severino either. We don't have Michael King either. So we've got to replace those innings. How do we do it? Probably a combination of these things, while not blocking the path to some of the younger kids too, the prospects. So they are in a position to do that. And I am in favor of converting Nestor Cortez to long relief, as well as putting Luis Hill in long relief, providing a good bridge from the starting rotation to the shorting relievers at the end of the game. But that's just me. Let me know what you think of that. But let me know if you think there are any other logical trade partners besides the Marlins and the Mariners, who the Yankees could probably execute a good trade and still have the wiggle room to add a closer if they want to do such. And apparently they do. So, and they can do it in a trade or in free agency. And again, Josh Hader is obviously the premier reliever, but not necessarily considered the premier fit. So maybe they go after a guy like Jordan Hicks. Maybe they go after a Robert Stevenson or something like that, where they can bring in at a more affordable rate and still have the ability to wiggle and have room for the trade deadline, have room to extend Juan Soto. So, which is priority number one. Getting him was priority number 1A. Extending him is priority number 1B, at least in my opinion. So, but again, let me know what you think, folks. Okay, let's talk about this. Do you agree with the Marlins and the Mariners as being the most logical fits? Do you disagree? Either one's okay. Load up the comments. Let's get into it. Have a great day, gang. Talk to you next time.